Hello, you guys. Welcome. It is me, Danyell Carmelita, your favorite tarot reader and astrologer, and welcome back to another episode of Zodiac Reads, Books Aligned with the Stars. And we are finished with our Pisces theme. So today I'm going to do a wrap-up of Pisces and all the books that I read for Pisces season, and then we're going to get into Aries and talk about the themes of Aries. So I also have a book haul, so check that out. Now, at the beginning, I explain astrology and I tie it into the books, and then we get on to the books. So if you really are into astrology, if you really love reading and love books, you are at a great place. If you just love books, you're also at a great place. If you just love astrology, you're learning. So you're at a great place too. So let's get started.
3, 2, 1.
I love you.
So first of all, this week, this book right here, oh my gosh, I think this was the best book I read for Pisces season. So I'm starting off with amazing results. Actually, I finished off with this book. This was the last book. I think I finished this book 2 days ago, and I am filming this a day before it is Aries season, before spring equinox. Anyway, this is Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. This is everything that Pisces has discussed. You are talking about writing as if you are a poet. You got this here. You're talking about grieving and ending. You got this here. You have a healer. That's all very Pisces theme. It is in here. She's very spiritual. She felt things that people couldn't feel. The main character, Agnes, that is all in here. Grief was abundantly a strong feeling. It is written so beautifully. I told my husband, I was like, if I was a writer, this is who I would want to write like. This was amazing. There was one scene, the daughter is sick. She is at the same time being a healer and being a mom. And the way the author wrote about that feeling of being the same, of operating and working, and at the same time, the feeling, it was just, I can't even put into words how I love this book. I love this book so much. So this book is 100% of 5 stars. This is 100% aligned with all the Pisces themes. So if you love magic, if you love fantasy, and this was very like, if you could say magic, this was very low magic because it was very believable. It was a natural sense that someone can have. So she can read minds, and she was somewhat of a prophet and can tell what's going to happen to someone, all just through a spiritual, untangible feeling. So love this book, great writer, and I am very interested to see what else she has written. I don't know anything about this author. And also this book is about Shakespeare, but they never mention Shakespeare's name. I also love that because it's not really about him. It's really about Hamnet, and it's really about his son who passed away and the wife, really more importantly. So love that. But you're talking about grief, you're talking about poetry, you're talking about heavy emotions. There's invisible connections, also a sacrifice of some sort too, because she was really willing to say, you go ahead and you do your work and I'll take care of home. Anyway, so we have all that in this book. So the next book that I read was by Tommy Ademiye, and it is Children of Blood and Bones. This is a fantasy book. I'm not a huge fan of fantasy, if you know anything about me. This is set in Nigeria, and it's about the difference between a group that does magi, as they call it, which is they are magic and they're witches and they were born with this and they have silver hair or white hair, versus the families that don't. They also talk about mythology, and it's more, and the mythology is based on Nigerian mythology. This is a great read. It was easy. I understood the magical world. It wasn't that complicated, because sometimes these magical worlds, they just get a little bit too complicated. Very much into the Pisces theme, because you're talking about magic. Her mom passes. You do have this sense of grief. You do have a sacrifice, and she sacrificed herself several times. It gets, anytime you're dealing with fighting with the fantasy, you are dealing with a little Aries, because you are talking about the warrior. She was a very strong woman as a warrior, but it's a rich West African inspired fantasy. It's about magic. It's about oppression that can get, yes, and rebellion. All that is filled in this. So you do have a lot of themes within this book, but I did pick this for Pisces season, and it's also due because her mom passed away, and you are also talking about a huge theme of magic. Now, I do want to say that in this book, there is a huge theme of colorism and it's really written more at the beginning. There is a strong energy of the father and him really hating magic, and then without giving spoilers, that is a big issue too. The father, the way the character wrote the father made me hate the father so much. That means that it is really well written. So, but you have the Pisces themes that you have in this book is fantasy. There are dreams too, because there's a huge connection with dreams actually, because when she's in her dreams, she's also communicating to someone else. So that is a huge thing, and dreams is very Pisces themed. And then you have spiritual connections, ancestry, could be more Cancer, but it's all that water element, and a lot of emotional weight here. And I annotated this book, and I think it was a great read. I will read part 2 because it did leave me at a great cliffhanger. So this is going to be a movie, and the actors in this movie, they're going to be really good. However, the main character is either my skin tone, and the main character is dark skin, and so that makes it interesting. But yes, anyway, what do I rate this book? Because I'm not a big fan of fantasy, I'll rate it a 4. And so that is that. It would have been a 5 if I was into fantasy, but I'm not really into the magic world. There is this one character that I really love, and she was actually a healer, and they made it seem like she had a glow and she had an afro and her hair was very beautiful. So I'm really interested to see who they will have her play her part in the movie. But great read. If you love fantasy, then I would say yes, get this book. Another book that I read for Pisces season, I'm actually not finished with this book because I'm reading this with a book club, and we're going step by step and we're breaking it down. I'm halfway done, but it's called Chaos, and it's Charles Manson and the CIA and the secret histories of the 60s. The reason why I'm bringing this out is because this is a huge theme of Pisces, conspiracy, secrets. At the same time, Neptune that I'm filming this, Neptune is in the sign Pisces. It's at 29 degrees. All these mean secrets and endings. And we have the JFK files that just were released. This gives the same energy as the collective knowing what are the hidden secrets. And that is what this represents. There's illusions, there's also addictions, that's very Pisces themes, there's secrecy, deception, what is the truth, what is not the truth. And then the collective is dealing with this because everyone is on the same page of being lost and confused, and that is very Pisces. This just hits home because we are dealing currently with the JFK, and we're dealing currently with Jeffrey Epstein, and now I'm reading this book. So I do know that there is a Netflix documentary. I haven't seen it. This book is amazing. The guy who wrote this book has to have Scorpio traits because he has an obsession and he doesn't want to let go of this investigating of this case. But there is a lot of themes of sexuality and addictions, and this is very strong in a Pisces realm. So yes, I couldn't read it at night. I still can't read it at night. I have to read it in the daytime because it's very real and a lot of details. I'll just say that. But I haven't finished this book, but it is already a 5-star. If I can give it 6 stars, I would, but it's 100% 5-star. Another book that I read is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I was really going to read The Dead Romantics by them, but I had this library book. Libby gave me the book, and I said, let me read this while Libby gave it to me. It was a very easy read, especially after reading such heavy books. I wanted to go into something light. I think I just finished The Children of the Blood, and I just finished my second part of Chaos. So I said I wanted something easy. This is dealing with magic, but more in a realistic realm. It's about a person who their aunt passed, and the grief in this book was very realistic. And reading the author's notes, she said that she was grieving while writing this book. So that part was that one was dead on for us to writing. The love romance part of this book, because Pisces does deal with romance, I felt like that was it was rushed and didn't quite make sense on why they're all of a sudden in love. But you do have that, but it's a magical realism romance about a woman who finds a man living in her apartment from 7 years in her past. And then there's this time blending, and you're talking about a portal of some sort that is very Pisces theme, and a lot of emotions weighing on it. And so you're talking about time, you're talking about divine timing, you're talking about dreamlike romance, you're talking about grief as well, and all that is in this book, 7-Year Slip. Interesting that it's 7 years, and 7 is dealing with spirituality in numerology. 7 is also dealing with reflecting. 7 is a very spiritual number, and 7 is also in the 7th house. You are dealing with relationships. So all that ties in really perfectly with this 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I will rate this book a 3. It was an easy read and it was very light. However, I need more depth in the things that I like to read. And the grieving part, A+, she was dead on it. So if you're into grief, if you're into reading about that, I think that this was great. But it was a very easy read. So if you want something light with a sense of a little heavy tone, then this would be a perfect read for you. The next book I read is The Frozen River by Ariel Lahan. And this is a historical mystery energy. Now this is perfect for Pisces. Pisces, people kind of don't associate it with the cold, but it is during the winter time. And so you have the heavy emphasis on the weather and the coldness. We were just experiencing that while I was reading this book, so it was perfect. And the reason why you are dealing with this far as Pisces themes is that you are dealing with mystery, which is more Scorpio, but there were a lot of secrets and things that were hidden that you had. And you also have her being a healer, a strong healer, and she was really into healing everyone. A midwife could be more of that Cancer trait, but Pisces has all of the water signs within it. So she used her intuition a lot. There were a lot of hidden layers of the truth in this book. But yes, it was great for Pisces season 1 because it's cold. 1, because we are dealing with this huge healing aspect. Not only was she a healer, but there was also another doctor who was very mysterious, who was a healer as well. It's a great book. I gave this book a 4. Not very realistic far as the time with women. It was really discussing women's rights. I feel like in that day, that really wasn't discussed. You're talking about before they had cars and everything. But other than that, it was the way the author wrote was great. Became a little Scooby-Dooby at the end. When I say Scooby-Doo, I think of there is a whole mystery. We have to solve this whole mystery. And at the end, all of a sudden, here are all the clues. But other than that, it was a great read. I enjoyed reading it, and I would recommend this to someone else to read. It wasn't too heavy, but it was heavy enough to stay intrigued. Lastly, the book that I read this Pisces season is The House in the Gerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. I didn't know anything about this author. Apparently, there's a lot of controversy dealing with him. I'm going to be honest, I'm really not into books that deal with the devil, and this book was about the devil. It's about a social worker. He's in this magical world, and he deals with kids who are magical, but now they're going to send him to a secret location, and it's a private job he has to do, and he can't tell anyone who are the kids in this house, and one of the kids is a devil, and I think the other kids were more, not demonic, but just like you could say have dark energy, but they made them very innocent and ignorant, and it made you want to love them as characters, but they were clearly very dark. But it's fantasy, a government worker who's sent to a magical orphanage and finds love, and also is gay too. So that was that was a spoiler alert, sorry. But it was just all very interesting. Even, I'm trying not to give spoilers, but not the book for me. I don't like demons. I don't like anything dealing with demonic stuff, but you are dealing with fantasy. You are dealing with kids who are orphanage, and so they're lacking. That is a Pisces theme. You could also be dealing with compassion. That's very Pisces, compassion. And then imagination. It is by the water. That is the reason why I picked this book. And the water, the sea is all very Pisces thing. Think of Pisces and fish. Magical world, just not my thing. But it was dealing with compassion. If you are not offended by the devil, if you're not offended by demonic things, you will love this. So that is my total wrap up of Pisces. And I'm excited that I read Hamnet. I'm excited that I had a 5-star read. And also I'm excited that I have chaos under my belt with these Pisces themes. Great books, and will recommend those two for sure to everyone. And I'm interested in seeing Children of the Blood and Bone and continuing that series, even though I am so against series. I'm going to talk about Aries, and then I'm going to tell you my book haul that I got for this Aries season. And now we are going to talk about this transition from Pisces to Aries. Pisces is all about dreaming, and then you get into Aries season, and then you take the dream and now you do the dream. You put it into work. And Pisces is about forgiveness and releasing and letting go. And then Aries is a fresh start. That's why during Aries seasons, we have a lot of ceremonies that are involving resurrections, rebirth. And Aries is like, let's get things started. It is the first zodiac of the astrology, just like Pisces is the last zodiac of the astrology. So now there is this fresh start. So you're releasing, you're forgiving, you're letting go, and you're starting starting fresh. So ending and closure, surrendering, and then Aries kicks off that new start of things. Now, Pisces is also dealing with a heavy emotion. There is an emotional flow, while Aries is dealing with the physical. The emotions are gone. It's time to have the physical drive. Aries is ruled by water and Neptune and Jupiter. And Aries is ruled by Mars. And there's energy, there's assertion, there's fire, there's drive, there's spark. So you have this leaving of the emotion and getting into the physical element of things. There's a collective energy with Pisces. You're dealing with group, you're dealing with oneness. Actually, there is this book called Oneness. There is this book which is very Pisces themed. This is actually more of a spirituality book, but it's very Pisces. It is, I think I highlighted a whole page in several pages of this. This is written by Rasha, is what I have. Oneness by Rasha. I don't know if she has a last name, but yes, but this is a metaphysical book. This explains Pisces in a nutshell. Forgiveness and oneness. So Pisces is all about oneness, where Aries is all about the self. Singular, the individual. So you have collective healing, and now you're changing it into personal empowerment. Pisces is all about no boundaries. The boundaries are blurred, and now in Aries, you're going to be setting some boundaries. Pisces is absorbs energy and it struggles with limits, where Aries asserts being true to your identity. Who do you care about? It's time to care about yourself and prioritizing the self. Just like any feminine sign, which are all earth signs and water signs, Pisces is all about inner reflection. Aries is about external reflection. So a lot of energy of going outside, a lot of energy of expressing and leading and conquering the real world. No more of this mysterious illusions. There's clarity and confrontations. We're not going to be lost in the sauce. We're going to make things very clear, and we're going to assert ourselves. So the last few things I have blending from leaving Pisces into Aries is that there is a flow of universe, and you're blending your strong will. Pisces surrenders to divine timing, where Aries is going to create its time. It's going to be like, I'm all about doing it, okay? So you have the ending of a zodiac and you have the beginning of a zodiac. So now that we understand the ending of Pisces and how it goes from Pisces season and blends on into Aries, now we can just talk about Aries. I'm just going to name some keywords here, and I'm looking down because I don't want to forget anything, but you're talking about courage, you're talking about initiation, you're talking about independence. Again, because it's the first zodiac sign, you're also talking about one. So being the first, number one. Also, there's leadership, there's passion, there's determination. There's also this sense of competing, because Aries wants to be number one. So it wants to win. There's competing. It's action orientated because it is, the ruler is Mars. Mars is all about action, and it's very driven. It's a fire sign. It has the energy of being a trailblazer, and there's survival instincts. It is the warrior of the zodiac. So you're going to see a lot of books coming up that's dealing with being first, being competitive, the self, and being a fighter and being a warrior. Mars is also the ruler of war. So there's a lot of themes of war. There's survival instincts, there's physical energy, there's rebellion, fire, a lot of tempers with this energy. The hero. Who is the hero? Who is the warrior? Very bold. There's a lot of energy of self-discovery. You can also be defending the underdog, because you are dealing with this protector, this warrior, this hero, and that energy is going to fight for the voiceless. There's a lot of adrenaline, fast-paced energy, risk-taking, and also starting new. So now that you understand Aries, that's Aries in a few words, as much as I could explain it. Now we're going to get into the book. So I have several themes here that I tried to narrow the books in, and I tried to narrow it into about 3 different categories. First, we're talking about fierce and fearless kind of energy. Then we're talking about the mindset, which is more leadership and ambitious and taking risks. And then lastly, we can always integrate love, because I'm a Cancer. I want to integrate love, but the love is different. This love, any kind of books you're reading under Aries, is going to be very passionate, going to be very fiery kind of romance. Also, you can athletes, any type of athletic or competing for a love, then perfect. So now let's get into some books. First of all, some books that I've already read under Aries, and we're doing the first energy, which is about fears and being fearless. This one is all about war. So we're talking about books that are dealing with war, any kind of power struggles. So the books that I read on this, which I have given to my son's girlfriend, the first book is Fourth Wing. That series is a great series if you're into Aries. You're talking about Venus is in Aries right now and it's retrograding as I'm doing this video, but it doesn't matter what's going on currently in the sky. But during Aries season, you're talking about being brave and starting anew. And Fourth Wing is a perfect book to read with this. Also, too, there is some smut in that, and Mars is the energy of intimacy, so are trying to achieve it and really wanting it. So you do have that. Now, Game of Thrones, that is a great one. I actually had a book that I had, I'm trying to see if it's up here, and it was called Blood of Fire. I actually had that book in the last video that I had. That one would be perfect because Aries is also dealing with anything sharp, anything dealing with weapons and blood and red. So that is a perfect one. But just Game of Thrones, that whole series is great. Hunger Games, I actually have Hunger Games here. I actually purchased this set here. I already read these books. I don't think I read the last one though. So I'm going to read the last one, and also there's a new book that just came out. So I will be reading that during Aries season. This actually, as a younger adult, is what made me start to love reading as a grown-up, this whole series. So I have a lot of respect for Hunger Games, even though I'm not that into dystopia or fantasy, but I do love this. So I will be getting the next book that actually came out already. Perfect for Aries season. Song of Achilles, let me see. Now, I've already read this book. This is a great book. Not only is it about mythology, which I discussed already about Pisces, but this is also about war and having the confidence to fight in war. And that is very Aries energy and about bravery. So this is perfect. And this is about Greek mythology and war. It's also a romance book about two men. So just letting you know. This one right here, this one is perfect for Aries season. You're talking about someone who's very brave and courageous, and she is a nurse. So there is this healing aspect. So you do have that, which is very Pisces energy. However, she is very brave because she goes to the Vietnam War and becomes a nurse in the war. And yes, so this is all about bombs and war and fighting. And it's a historical fiction. I really love this book. This is 100% a 4-star. There's bravery, there's leadership under pressure, and redefining your purpose. Yes. Also, there is addiction involved in this. So there is this Pisces element in there. So these are great transitional books into going from Pisces to Aries season. So now let me tell you some books that I bought that I am going to read within this category for Aries season. Oh my gosh. So these are the books that I am planning on reading. This is Poppy War. I've heard a lot of things about this book. I felt like it was about mythology. It's very popular though, and I think it's a series, but it has war in it, rage, fire, unapologetic transformation, very ambitious, line between power and destruction. Look at this. This was the only book they had, and I went to Barnes & Noble's. This was the only book they had. So this is a very popular book, so I'm planning on reading Poppy War. Another book that I thought was so perfect for Pisces is Red Rising. This is by Pierce Brown. Darrow starts as an underdog and rises into a full-blown warrior leader. The book is about rebellion, strategy, war, and grit, revolution, military action, and daring leadership. Also red, very fire energy. The next book is Golden Sun, so that will probably be perfect to read for Leo season. And Morning Star, ooh, that makes me think of Venus. So maybe during Libra or Taurus season for that one. But yes, that is what we have that I'm gonna read. When I just see red, blood, war, knives, sharp, I think of Aries. Now, lastly, which I was just mentioning, I'm also going to do this one. This one is Butcher and Blackbird. This book I just bought, and I think this is about a murder. And this could be dealing more with Scorpio season, but the word butcher made me say, this is very Aries. And it gives a disclaimer at the beginning of the book. Let me read the disclaimer here. Content trigger warnings. It's a dark romantic comedy and will hopefully make you laugh through the madness. It's still dark. So it's giving me Scorpio energy, but because we have Butcher, I'm putting this in Aries. If you have questions about this list, please don't hesitate to contact me, and it gives a website or on my social media platforms. There's Eyeballs and Eye Socket, Amateur surgery, that's Pisces. Chainsaws, axes, knives. It goes on. It also says there's some detailed intimate scenes too. Because of that, I'm going to give this an Aries energy, and we'll see how this plays out for Aries. I think this is a lot of people that either like it or hate it. So we'll see. Look at this. It has pink sprayed edges, and this is also a series. So the last book that I hauled this week is Spark of the Everflame, okay? I actually saw that this was really popular at Barnes & Noble's, and this too, this wasn't the last book. The Poppy War was another book that was like, oh, it was a whole separate book. Anyway, yeah, I just saw this behind the shelves, behind the counter at Barnes & Noble. And I know that this is a fantasy. I know that this is magic. I know that this is about fighting, but it's about survival and rebellion. Also, too, this is funny because I'm already reading this book. I'm actually halfway in this book. It starts off with a person talking about their daggers, okay? So that's very Aries energy. Also, several times in this book, they say fight, 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 fight. Very Aries energy and being brave and being courageous. But there is magic dealing with this. She is a healer. So this is very good to read from Pisces to Aries season if you're trying to do that. But yes, that is what we have for Aries season, and I think it's perfect. That is what we have for as the category of fighting. I have some books from the library, actually, and no one recommended any of these books, but I thought they were perfect for Aries. We have Red War, and this is by Vince Flynn. This might be a really good read. Another one is, because look at this, Knife, international bestseller. I might want to really read this, okay? I don't know what this book is about. Harry is in a very bad place. Raquel, the only woman he's ever loved, has kicked him out permanently. He's drinking again, and though he's been given a chance for a new start, Aries, are new cases that he suspects have ties with somebody. This person's name, Seven Finn, the most notorious criminal in Norway. The serial murderer and rapist Harry put behind bars a decade ago. Okay, so it looks like it's about a mystery, but why is there a knife? We'll see what that's about. But Sharp Objects, another book, Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn, will be perfect for Aries season 2. Last book that I randomly picked up from the library is The Hurricane Wars. I thought this was like pretty cool for the in-between Pisces and going into Aries season. One, because hurricane, very mutable energy, it's unpredictable. That is very Pisces. Pisces, during Pisces season or any type of mutable sign, you do have very wild weather, okay? Hurricane and water. Let me see, I don't know anything about this book, but look at this. There's a map inside, okay? All Tasselin has ever known is the Hurricane Wars. Growing up as an orphan in a nation under siege by the ruthless Night Emperor, she found her family among the soldiers who fight for freedom. But Tasselin is hiding a deadly secret. Okay, we're getting to Pisces, which is a purple book too. Light magic courses through her veins in blazing power that can cut through the Night's Empire's shadow, believed to have been wiped out years ago. Prince Arleric, the Emperor, only son and heir, has been tasked with obliterating any treats to the Night's Emperor's rules. Again, we're talking about war. We're talking about fantasy. It says the heart is a battlefield. So, yeah. I don't know if I'll be reading this. This one, you know, whenever there's an international bestseller, that really intrigues me. We'll see what library book I choose out of those three, but those are the three that I have. I was actually rushing at the library. I have another long list of Aries books, so I might be picking another book. We'll see. Hamnet was my #1 book, and that was a library book. So I'm having faith for the library this season, okay? So that's what I have for the war. Next time we'll do this video, we'll get into like starts and leadership, #1. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, check out, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you're into books, period, if you're into astrology and books, I have a whole group on Pisces alone, and I'm just getting started with this book series. Thumbs up this if you love this. If you want to read astrology, if you want to learn about astrology on your own, I sell an ebook. okay, on how to read your own chart. So check out the link down below. Or if you're just like, you know, I just love astrology, I love you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and do your due diligence as a viewer, and sign up for my newsletter. It's completely free, and I keep you connected with the vibe in the sky, okay? I will see you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.
Bye bye.